The Flinders Highway has been a hunting ground for serial killers for decades.
11 people murdered or disappeared in the past 50 years, and the cases are growing.
It's easy to hide a body in Outback Australia.
We're trying to solve the mystery of a young man who disappeared without a trace.
In 2017, two young blokes set out on a New Year's Eve road trip. Only one made it to their destination alive.
Jayden rang me. He was happy, saying, "Oh, this is going to be good for me, Mum." That's the last I ever heard from him.
Our investigative team retraced Jayden's movements minute by minute.
We reconstructed his trip using electronic data.
But just as they were zeroing in on what happened on the highway,
The footage does appear to show the headlights of a car across from the roadhouse.
this cold case suddenly boiled over with the discovery of a body.
To some breaking news now. Police have found human remains near Charters Towers.
Now the hunt for answers is back on.
Forensic examinations are continuing.
And until we find the truth, that road isn't finished talking.
I know in my heart he was murdered. I can't give up on getting justice for him.
The Flinders Highway starts in Townsville. It goes all the way to Mount Isa, and it's probably one of the most notorious stretches of road, 800 kilometres, in the whole of Australia.
In the modern era, it's a lot harder to go missing. Everywhere you go, you're being tracked by your phone and captured on camera. That is, unless you find yourself alone on the Flinders Highway.
There's very little CCTV other than some CCTV in some of the towns that you pass through. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of kilometres of country that is not policed in any way. I've been conducting investigations into some of the missing persons on the Flinders Highway over 20 years. These are disappearances and murders that have not a skerrick of evidence left behind.
11 people have been publicly documented as missing or killed on this road since the 1970s. And in this episode, we're looking at one particularly baffling case. One young man who never made it off the highway. We're investigating the mysterious disappearance of Jayden Penon-Thompsett with the help of our 3 experts. Former FBI highway homicide expert Mike King, investigative journalist Amelia Oberhart, and criminal investigator Ken Gamble. They've spent years researching this notorious stretch of road.
I spent a career investigating serial predators across the country, applying geography to murder cases. I want to reinvestigate this case because something happened out there. And until we find the truth, that road isn't finished talking.
In late 2017, 22-year-old Jayden Penon-Thompsett set out on a road trip with a friend, Lucas Tattersall.
Jayden had plans to go to Cairns. All the boys, his cousin, mates were all going up to party at Cairns for New Year.
Three days later, Jayden disappeared off the side of the highway. 8 years later, He's still missing, presumed dead.
Suddenly, Jayden disappears. Everyone was suspicious, including the police.
Jayden was the quietest baby. He was just adorable. He was the cutest thing. He had the beautiful smile, biggest belly laughs. You just couldn't be cranky at him for anything. He was 1 year old when he was using the screwdriver to try and open up the old VHS tape player because he put his toast in it. He was a beautiful child. He'd been into motorbikes since he was young. He'd learnt to rebuild his own top end of the motorbike at 14. In 2017, Jayden was 22. He went over to Perth to be with his father over there for a little while, and he was looking at going into the mines. Looking back, if he had stayed in Perth, he'd still be here today.
Right from the start of Jayden's road trip to Cairns for that New Year's Eve party, something felt off for Rachel. An old girlfriend was supposed to go with Jayden on the road trip, but just before they set out, Rachel heard there'd been a change of plans.
I received text messages from one of his female friends because she was supposed to go on the drive. But at the last minute, he sent her a message saying, "Shit's happening, shit's going down." These were the words. "Helping a mate. I gotta go." That was it. These messages come through, and then Lucas was last minute on the trip. I didn't know Lucas.
And that's how 20-year-old Lucas Tattersall, someone Rachel had never heard of, became Jayden's travel mate, the driver, and a key player in what happened next. From Newcastle, it's almost 2,000 kilometres north to Cairns. That's a 26-hour drive. They plan to drive the inland route into Queensland until they hit the Flinders Highway near a town called Charters Towers. They then head east to the coast and north to Cairns in time for the New Year's Eve party. But something else was going on.
He rang me just before dusk and said that they were just at the border. The drive was going okay at that point. He was happy, you know, this is going to be good for me, Mum.
Jayden and Lucas had taken a risk. In their car, they had drugs, ice, MDMA, and ecstasy pills.
They decided to take a small quantity of drugs. It was a good opportunity to sell some drugs up there. They both consumed drugs on the way north. It kept them awake for driving, so there weren't any sleep on the way up.
Jayden got the drugs from a dealer with a promise he'd pay for them when he got back home. Jayden's mum Rachel had no idea that he owed the dealer thousands of dollars.
I heard from Jayden the Saturday. I'd been messaging, "Is everything okay? Did you make it there?" And all he came back with was, "Yeah." Nothing more.
Rachel couldn't know that Jayden's one-word reply would be the final communication from her only child.
So that's the last I ever heard from him.
Once Jayden was reported missing, police, along with search and rescue, spent 12 days searching across an 85 square kilometre area without finding any trace of him.
I was contacted by Rachel, Jayden's mother, and I agreed to reinvestigate some of the circumstances of the case.
Frustrated by the lack of any news, Rachel hired Ken Gamble to dig into the case. He examined the police witness statements, including Lucas's detailed account of what he said happened. He also created a timeline from Lucas's phone data, detailing where he went and when and who he texted.
The purpose of my investigation was to examine whether or not there were leads that the police had missed. So the way in which Jayden disappeared leaves a lot of questions.
Three days after leaving home on his first big road trip, Jayden went missing. And that's when things for me got very strange with this story. I'm Amelia Roberhart. I'm an investigative journalist and a true crime podcaster based in Queensland.
I've examined all the CCTV in Jayden's case. I've read the coroner's report and I've mapped out the timeline of the boys' road trip. Despite all the resources the police piled into looking for Jayden once he was reported missing, no sign of him was ever found.
Were the police looking in the right place?
Is there something we're all missing?
After a text on Saturday afternoon, Jayden's mum Rachel heard nothing more from her son. Lucas's phone pinged off phone towers all the way north. But Jayden had gone dark, not replying to any of his mother's texts. 10 hours later, he and Lucas were captured on CCTV at a petrol station in Charters Towers. This CCTV vision, given to police after Jayden was reported missing, is the last time Jayden is ever seen alive.
They ended up arriving in Charters Towers. They were caught on CCTV in the Puma Roadhouse in Charters Towers. They had stopped at the Roadhouse to get drinks and so forth.
Now, watch this CCTV. It became one of the most important pieces of evidence in Jayden's case.
That's Jayden there. And that's Lucas, paying for drinks.
You can see from the footage, Jayden seems sort of agitated. He's moving around a lot, and that does track with him being high on drugs.
Later, in Lucas's statement to police, he said that Jayden was smoking the drug ice every 4 hours. By the time this footage was recorded, they'd travelled almost 2,000 kilometres without sleeping. Watch closely here. While Lucas went to pay for petrol, something unusual happened in the car.
At that time, Jayden had lost some of the drugs that he was possessing during the trip. There was a time where he believed that perhaps Lucas had stolen some of the drugs that he had on him.
For a few minutes, Jayden appears to be looking for something in his car. Whatever he's looking for, it doesn't seem like he finds it.
Jayden was searching frantically in the car with his phone torch, looking for something.
When Lucas comes back, it gets heated. The boys appear to argue.
It was Lucas, the one that looked to get out of the car in a huff and slammed the door.
Lucas later told police they'd argued over who should pay for the cigarettes he bought. But something else was captured by the CCTV. It appears Jayden and Lucas weren't the only ones at the roadhouse at that time.
I have watched this CCTV footage over and over and over again, and there's definitely something caught on camera that's off to one side of the road.
Remember, this petrol station is right on the Flinders Highway. The footage does appear to show the headlights of a car across from the roadhouse. And there does seem to be a sort of intermittent flash of a torch off to one side. Could it be that Jayden and Lucas were being followed? Who pulls up short of a gas station at 3 in the morning in the middle of nowhere?
You could see headlights of another car. There were people there, yeah.
The Flinders Highway is a place of opportunity for predators to find people that can be taken in an opportunistic crime and victimized. A little gas station sitting out there on the edge of the highway could be the perfect place to watch people without ever being noticed. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if someone with bad intentions had their eyes on those two.
Were Jayden and Lucas being followed? Ken Gamble used Lucas's statement to police and the signal tower data from his phone to piece together what happened next. They revealed that Jayden and Lucas drove around Charters Towers for the next 4 hours.
From 3 a.m. in the morning, when they were sighted at the roadhouse, they had spent time in Charters Towers, believing that some of the drugs had fallen out of the car and perhaps could have been on the street somewhere. They drove around 4 hours.
Lucas later told police he and Jayden drove around Charters Towers, trying unsuccessfully to locate Jayden's ice stash. If they were followed from the roadhouse, were they in danger and didn't know it?
One of the things I've found throughout my career as I've mapped the highways and the homicides that occur alongside of those is that those corridors bring people into one location. A killer could have been watching those two boys and taken advantage of their erratic behavior in the early morning hours around Charters Towers, simply following them out of town.
Neither of them had slept since leaving Newcastle almost 44 hours earlier. They were fatigued and confused. And then they took a fateful, wrong turn after getting back to the Flinders Highway.
Instead of heading along the Flinders Highway towards Townsville, they've ended up taking a turn that's taken them out to a country road called Stock Route Road at a place called Bredon. So at some point in the morning, Lucas has pulled the vehicle over and Jayden has got out of the car, and in a fit of rage, he has smashed his phone on the ground. That phone broke.
Police later found the damaged phone in a search of Lucas Tattersalls' car, but they were unable to retrieve any data from it.
He's then walked off from the vehicle into a paddock. He sat under a tree for a short time, and Lucas sat in the car listening to the radio for about 15 minutes, and then looked up and tried to find Jayden again, and he was gone. That was the last time that he saw Jayden.
These back roads are often the place that people who are trying to avoid detection from the law will travel. The question becomes, what happened to Jayden during that mysterious window of time? Were these young men followed from town and Jayden fell victim to a predator when they took that wrong turn off the highway? What did Lucas say happened that day? The entire case is really intriguing to me.
Lucas Tattersalls' version of the timeline, as told to police at the time, is key to this case. As the last person Jayden was seen alive with, his story needs to stack up.
Jayden got out of the car. Lucas said that he'd just let Jayden cool down for 20 minutes. And then after that, Jayden wasn't there, he reckons.
He yelled out for him, he couldn't find him anywhere. So he decided to go back into Charters Towers.
His car was seen by witnesses multiple times driving up and down the road. It was captured on a traffic camera at 11:45 a.m. on the Flinders Highway. Ken Gamble's access to phone records shows that just a few minutes later, Lucas texted Jayden's cousin Tim from the highway near Charters Towers, asking if he'd heard from Jayden. Tim replied, no. What is also very clear from Ken's research is that at no point that morning did Lucas call police to report his mate missing.
Later in the morning, he'd drawn the conclusion that Jayden perhaps had got a lift, maybe he'd hitchhiked, and that he was no longer in Charters Towers.
The electronic data shows Lucas left Charters Towers at 3 p.m.
Once he left Charters Towers, Lucas made his way to Cairns.
He arrived in Cairns at 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Jayden had already been missing for over 12 hours.
He didn't see anyone the night he was up there. He reckons the boys that were up there didn't see him. He went out partying. I kept trying to ring, no answer.
Almost 72 hours had passed since Jayden's one-word response, yeah, to Rachel's question, are you okay?
By the Tuesday, I was starting to get annoyed because I need to know you're okay, mate. So I messaged him again and nothing again.
And then on Tuesday evening, one of Jayden's friends contacted Rachel and delivered the news that would change her life forever.
I got the horrific text message. Jayden was missing.
As soon as Jayden became a missing person, police launched a massive search that lasted almost 2 weeks. Despite covering off a large area around Bredon, no sign of him was found. So Rachel went to Charters Towers to look for Jayden herself.
So surreal, Beanie.
This is the video she recorded as she desperately searched for someone, anyone who could give her new information. Even when police stopped investigating, she's returned here again and again, never giving up hope she'll find out what happened to Jayden.
Since 2017, the lengths that I've gone to find my boy, well, it started with all the searching up in Charters Towers.
It was right in those bushes there where the torch was flashing.
You could tell someone was there.
Rachel has examined the CCTV images countless times, trying to decipher what she was seeing.
When the CCTV panned around to opposite, that's when we could see 2 headlights with a car parked there.
Towards that sign there is where they both were looking.
Yeah.
Something caught their attention.
Yep. just feel sick. This is the last sighting of my boy.
That's the thing that disturbs me the most. I've only got a pole on Stockroot Road that I put flowers on to visit. That's the final resting place that I've got for him.
Our investigators are mapping the minute-by-minute events following the disappearance of Jayden Penon-Thompsett off the side of the Flinders Highway on New Year's Eve 2017. Every text message, every phone tower ping, every last scrap of CCTV.
I rang one of his best mates to find out what was going on. He told me what he'd heard. Jayden was missing.
Rachel learned the news from Jayden's friends. At the same time, Lucas went to Cairns police station to report his mate missing. Almost 4 days had passed since Jayden stormed off. Lucas spent that time in Cairns partying.
Everybody thought that Lucas was suspicious. He was the last person with Jayden. They were doing a drug run up to Cairns. Suddenly Jayden disappears. He was certainly a key suspect.
Ken Gamble took his investigation to the place Jayden was last seen to see if the highway itself offered up any clues.
As a criminal investigator, you've got to get a feel of what the geography's like, the weather, what sort of obstacles there are. This is the general area where the Jayden Penon disappeared. I'm just trying to find the exact location.
Straight away, Ken noticed something. The area is not really isolated at all. Just a few kilometres off the highway, it's unlikely that someone would get lost here or hide a body here.
What strikes me is that there's quite a few properties, one after the other, so it's not actually a very remote area. And if somebody was to get lost here, they would be easily able to find the road, and they should be able to find the property fairly easily just by walking along the road. And it's not actually barren and not as dry as what I had first thought when I read the reports. It was difficult to understand that he could just walk through and vanish and never be seen again. It just doesn't sound right. This place was searched by SES and police some weeks later, quite extensively. If he had been deceased in any of these areas here, I'm pretty sure that the search parties that were searching would have found him. But of course, nothing was found. No body, no sign of Jayden anywhere. Maybe this is not the location. Maybe I should be looking somewhere else.
And that brings us back to the story Jayden's travel mate Lucas told police. Was he confused or being evasive? In 2021, 4 years after Jayden's disappearance, a coroner ruled that Lucas Tattersall was not involved in the death of Jayden Penon-Thompsett. There just wasn't any evidence at all that Lucas harmed Jayden. The coroner concluded that Jayden probably died from misadventure, a finding that really didn't answer any questions.
The coroner's report says that despite the issue of any moral failing, he wasn't responsible for Jayden's death. So if Lucas didn't kill Jayden, what on earth has happened to him?
October 21, 2025. In the midst of our investigation, a major breakthrough, a discovery with the potential to turn the case on its head.
To some breaking news now. Police have found human remains near Charters Towers in the state's north. They were discovered yesterday afternoon, but at this stage have not been identified. Forensic examinations are continuing.
Our investigators all heard the news at the same time.
This has come as a bit of a shock. It's the last thing I expected to hear.
They've now declared a crime scene and they've released that the town is Breton, which is obviously the last place that Jayden was seen.
Forensic teams are going to act quickly, and the first step is to secure and preserve the crime scene. Teams are working on recovering remains and evidence of foul play, and any evidence that they recover will be sent for examination.
After almost a decade, the Flinders Highway may be about to give up one of its tightly held secrets. When our investigating team asked Queensland Police for more details about the find, they confirmed that the remains were human and had been sent to Brisbane for testing. What they couldn't say was how long before they could say if it's Jayden.
Do you think it's him?
Look, I would say there's a very strong chance because of the location. This particular area of Breton, it's not right inside Charters Towers, it's outside.
It's tiny.
What we don't know, and what police are not revealing, is how fresh are these remains. They're definitely human remains. But are we talking skeletal remains? We just don't know, and that's the problem. It's interesting that police are not giving that information away at this stage.
Poor Rachel, she must be beside herself.
Oh, yeah.
Just the waiting.
It would be a very stressful time for the family and close friends that have waited so long for news. I would be very surprised if it's not Jayden.
Same here.
There's just no evidence of any other missing people in that area.
Our highway homicide expert, Mike King, believes a positive identification raises two big questions. Why has it taken 8 years to find Jayden? And was he murdered?
Finding a body after this long brings a whole ton of other questions that haven't been answered. Like, why wasn't Jayden found sooner, if this is in fact Jayden? The area, we know, was searched for weeks and months after his disappearance. For years, authorities suggested that it could have been misadventure, that he wandered off and had an accident or couldn't overcome the elements. So if the remains do turn out to be Jayden's, it might spark even more suspicion that somebody took advantage of the isolation of the Flinders Highway. And that all got written off as a young man walking off in anger.
Our experts aren't allowed onto the private property in Breton. It's a fully closed-off crime scene. But our forensic archaeologist and criminologist, Dr. Louise Stedding, has questions. What was the state of the body when discovered? And was it hidden or buried?
I need to know, when police find remains, how did they find them? Who found them? And under what circumstances? Was it in a grave of depth? Was it in a shallow grave? Was the person simply covered by natural weather events? It's a huge difference.
If the body was found buried, then someone else must have been involved in his death. That would overturn the coroner's finding of death by misadventure. As Rachel waits for news on whether the remains are her precious son, she is clinging to her own theory about that fateful morning on the side of the Flinders Highway. And she's angry with the police.
They weren't looking for a murdered boy. They were looking for a lost boy that was on drugs. They weren't interested in any other evidence, to be honest. I know in my heart he was murdered, and I won't give up, no.
If you're researching the Flinders Highway, you'll find 11 missing or dead. 11 publicly known, documented cases over the past 50 years. And Jayden Penon-Thompsett is one of those 11. In the course of investigating all of these cold cases, our experts have come to a shocking realisation. 11 is nowhere near the true number of suspicious deaths and disappearances on the murder highway.
Over the last 5 years, I've been investigating cases that might fit the patterns of homicide, and the numbers that we've come up with as we've looked through this investigation are double what most people think they are. This is a terrifying situation.
It's not until you start looking, start focusing on the Flinders Highway that you start to unravel all these disappearances.
What we're about to tell you has never been made public before. Our investigators have found a number of cases they believe are suspicious that were ruled suicide or death by misadventure. Police closed these case files with no further investigation. But our experts believe many of these deaths and disappearances ruled misadventure or suicide could well be murders, declared closed too soon. And the 11 people counted amongst the highway's dead is not even close to the real number of victims.
We're more in the line of about 24 people. Even that, I believe, is underrepresented for what truly has happened.
That's an enormous amount of people. And while some of the bodies were recovered, it still leaves a very big unresolved question as to who was responsible for these disappearances.
We asked Queensland Police, but it maintains it investigates each homicide or missing person individually on the highway. That means potential links might have been missed, and means the total number of dead and missing has never really been tallied. And as Rachel endures an endless wait for answers on the human remains found in Breton and whether they could be her son Jayden, she's been counting the real toll.
See, I never even knew there was a highway of death in Australia. And I started seeing all the disappearances along the Flinders Highway. I actually started to sink and felt sick. Then going through all the disappearances over and over, and then the ones that aren't reported, nobody hears about because nothing's ever been reported, advertised. The Flinders Highway is the perfect area to make someone go missing.
Former Outback cop Colleen Gwynn made her name in homicide by catching Peter Falconio's killer, Bradley Murdoch, in the Northern Territory. She believes she knows why this information isn't being made public.
There's a number of reasons why it's not broadly known. Governments are very reluctant to cause fear or hysteria around crime, but we have a problem here. One of our highways is a death trap. We have more people killed along here than anywhere else in Australia.
This is still a place where killers will hunt for their prey. There is still potentially a predator or serial predators out there patrolling the Flinders Highway and potentially looking for victims.
This road has claimed many more lives than the official number. And each victim has a family and a mum, just like Rachel.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jayden.
And as every birthday passes with no news, she's still searching that highway for answers.
Well, he knows he's loved. That's for sure. I've got a little ceramic flower that he made me. I've got his baby booties that he used to run around in. I treasure them. I kept every single thing of that boy's.
She's now been waiting months to find out if the human remains found right where her son went missing are Jayden's.
I won't give up, no. I just can't. I can't give up on him.